Hey y'all. So, I don't know what I'm gonna call this. Maybe like article Tuesdays or I don't know, but it's something about reading a good article and putting my 2 cents in that I like it. So, this does not really have to do with mental health, but I feel like everything that we do in life has to do with mental health. So, that's kind of not true. But this article that caught my eye today is about the future of dating apps. And I was just having a conversation that will be coming soon about dating. And that was a question that came up was like, what do you think about dating apps? Like, do you use them? Do you not? And I feel like, in my personal opinion, like they're cool or whatever, but I've only ever had luck in my life one time off of a dating app. And then I can say, how many times have I had luck in real life? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not married, I'm not in a successful relationship. So it's like, it's a effed if you do, effed if you don't type of situation, either way it goes. Whether you date online or you date in person, it's all the same people, I feel like. But I will say I think it's a lot easier to get bamboozled off the internet. It's a lot easier for somebody to tell you everything that you want to hear in a bio or via text message and not have to convince you. Otherwise, like, they don't got to look you in your face. You're not reading body language. You're just going off of whatever they're telling you until you meet them in person. And then it's like they either match up to what they said in the text messages or they don't. And if they don't, then you know what I mean? Is that good or bad? Like, yeah, dating is just fun nowadays. And if you know, you know. But anyway, the gist of the article is basically saying that the popularity of dating apps is going down, like to the point where maybe they might not exist. Down. It says the popularity of dating apps went up significantly during COVID. We were all sitting on our phones. We were stuck in the house, not doing nothing, couldn't go out and meet people. So it makes sense that these dating apps capitalized during that time. Because what else is there to do but sit there and swipe, 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 swipe? And then on top of that, the swiping is addictive in itself. So Bumble's video call feature saw a 70% increase in activity. The number of OkCupid users going on virtual dates shot up by a factor of 7. Tinder users set a record for swipes in a day, 3 billion worldwide, or 9 times the population of the United States. That's crazy. This all happened during COVID. 4 years later, these apps have seen major decreases in population. In 2023, Tinder's base of 10 million subscription paying users decreased by 8%, following 3 consecutive quarters of declines. By the end of 2023, the stock price of Match Group, which operates the largest portfolio of online dating services, including Tinder, OkCupid, and Hinge, had tumbled to about a fifth of its peak in 2021. A fifth. Bumble's stock, too, has fallen as much as 85% since February 2021. IPO. Don't know what that means. I don't do stocks, but yeah, that's insane. To go from 3 times, no, I'm sorry, 9 times the population of the United States in swipes, and then to go down as much as 85%, which, hmm, that means something's got to give, or Match Group might be screwed. Now, why do y'all think, like, tell me in the comments, why do you think online dating stopped being as popular as it was? I would say, kind of my beginning statement, it's real easy to pretend to be somebody. I think that we have had shows like Catfish out. since online dating was even like fathomed, and that terrifies people. That terrifies me. Like, not only do you not look like who you said you were, but you're just not who you said you were. That's scary. At least in person, I physically can see that you look like somebody worth me approaching. But and then with this AI stuff, like I I don't want to get too deep into like my fears, but the AI stuff, it's a little scary because soon enough it's going to be advanced enough that like this video right here might be enough for me to be saying something completely off color and completely wrong, like that. Like it's scary. I don't want to deal with. Could you imagine if your person called you or texted you and was like, bro, I just saw a video of you saying this, that, or the third to somebody else? Like, people are going to be able to do some crazy stuff. And I'm not trying to speak it into existence, but we already know. I think we should all already know the dangers of what's going on with this AI stuff. It's scary. So, that being said, I just went off on a whole different tangent. Yeah, I think that the relevancy of online interaction altogether should go down all around. I hope eventually we don't use our phones as much. I hope we go back to just being human beings again one day and not being so wrapped up in these things and all this technology and all this other stuff, because it's a lot and it's not even really healthy for us to be consuming all that. So, I mean, I feel like rightfully so, when we were able to start having interactions with human beings, the need to get online to date went down. And I think over time the want for people to date is going down. People don't want to have kids, people don't want to date, people don't want to do nothing because it's scary out here. It is terrifying out here in these streets. But yeah, I wrote a little opinion piece. Online dating doesn't offer the convenience that it advertises at all. uh, it does quite the opposite. If you've dated on an online dating site, you know firsthand what I mean, and I don't even have to say anything. Today, online and off, daters bemoan the user experience: boring, addictive, unproductive, sometimes downright painful. Even the good apps have come under fire, like Hinge for its infamous rose jail, the user coined term for the app's apparent practice of gatekeeping the profiles users find most attractive and potentially compatible behind paywalls. Huh. Oh, that's pretty crazy. So, y'all out here matching people up, doing what you say that you're doing, but you're gonna make someone pay for it for them to talk to that person. Isn't that the whole reason why I'm doing this online dating shit? Like, I literally might as well just go to a singles mixer and see who likes me in person. I could just ask them like, "You find me attractive?" Because that's all that it's about. Fuck the bio. We're looking at, are you cute to me or not when we're swiping most of the time. You might read the bio to make sure that they're not a crazy person, that they don't have like some off the wall red flag, or that they're not looking to bring another into their couple. But otherwise, what? Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Um, I can see why they got criticized for it, and I feel like it begs the question of like, why don't I just go out and date for real, if this is what I got to do to do it? Why am I paying you $10 to do something that I could literally for free go outside, throw a rock, and be like, hey, my bad? Like, what? Obviously, what's the other option? I just kind of said it. Gotta go back to dating the old fashioned way. The old fashioned way. That's what the kids are gonna call it when they have to actually go and meet people in person. Is the old fashioned way, the way my parents met back in dinosaur times when they used to actually talk to people. Yeah, like that. It's looking like that's the only that's the only alternative. And like I said, people don't even want to do that anymore. So like, what are you gonna do? I would say for me personally, I'm gonna just put my own opinion in on it. I would say it's to me, it's better to just go with the flow and let God do the work, because no matter what you do to try to influence that, like you finding a partner, it's going to go the way that it's going to go, regardless. You could do your big one, you could do your best, and it's still going to go the way it was going to go. You could do your worst, and it's going to go the way it was going to go, like the way that God intended it to go. There's no, I don't really think that there's any way around that. You either are compatible with a person and you mesh and like you you kick it and everything's cool, or you just part ways naturally. So whether you swipe right on them on Tinder or you meet them in person and you get to know them, you are still gonna experience the same outcome, because that's still that same person. And people, you know, I think people are a little turned off by the dating game for a couple of reasons. There's the toxicity. There's the fact that there's instant gratification with everything we do. So everything's rushed nowadays. And people will show you one thing for so long, whatever their period of time is, and then they'll just stop. Or one day they'll just change their mind, or it'll just switch up. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just who that person is. That's how people operate. But that in itself is probably one of the biggest deterrents in the dating game. Now, obviously, Mr. or Mrs. Right for you won't do that. But since it happens to people so often, and I'm not even coming just from me, in my opinion, in my experience, this is an experience that I have discussed with multiple people. Like, what turns you off about the dating game? And pretty much all of them say the same thing. One person will be one way one day, and then that next, literally at 12 a.m. that night, that day, whatever, that next day, whatever you want to call it, they will be a completely different person, like a full moon hit them, and they don't want nothing to do with you anymore. So that turns people away. But that being said, like I said, Mr. or Mrs. Right won't do that. So I try not to allow that to discourage me or deter me. I won't say I love like I've never been hurt before, but I try to have a understanding that that was what was meant to happen. And if I close myself off to the world and I say I will never do this again, it's not gonna do me no good, because it's gonna happen again regardless. You know what I mean? It's just gonna happen in due time, because sometimes it's just not your time, and that's okay. Your time will come. Everybody's time comes one day, and everybody got their own definition of what their time coming is. Know that too. So, yeah, people who date without apps often rely on a combination of their social circles, activities, routines, and luck. Many of them crucially have accepted that singleness is a possible outcome of their choices, and one that is preferable over years of unhappily swiping. More power to, like, power to the people. Hell yeah. I'm glad that people are understanding that. I'm glad that people are realizing that, because that might be that might be a possible outcome. That might be a thing. That's okay. Uh, like I said, your time's gonna come. But while we're on the, oh, this is why people don't want to do it. This is why it sucks. This is why dating is, yeah. Let's talk about some positive results that people have gotten from getting off the sites and doing the thing. And we're gonna talk about some people that may be having some struggles because the online dating sites did exactly what they were intended to do, and they got them a little stuck on it. So we got Manu, and I will also mention or note these people are on two different spectrums of age. They're in two different generations, so it kind of makes sense where these people are coming from when you hear their ages and what they say. So you got Manu, a 41-year-old nonprofit professional in New York, says that he hadn't really been on a date via an app since pre-COVID. This year, she rejoined Hinge around the same time someone she knew 15 years earlier reached out to her on Instagram. They both began talking extensively. Manu experienced a depth of connection that she had not felt in a very long time. This completely rocked my world, she said. I am now planning a trip to meet him in London in a few weeks. I would rather do this, spend a pretty penny to go to London on a lark for 4 days to see somebody than go on 3 app dates in Brooklyn. I have to agree with your sister. I would rather do that too. Yeah, you can say that's dangerous. You gotta. I think that if we're adults, which you better be if you're doing this anyway, you're supposed to be 18 and up to be on these dating sites. You better not be lying about your age on these dating sites, y'all. But anyway, if you're an adult, I think that you should be able to determine for yourself what level of risk it's taking to go out of the country, to use your passport, all of that. I would say I saw something, ooh, it's like I want to say it, but I don't want the creeps to know about it and then mess it up. So, if you want to know some tips on how to be safe when you're traveling as a woman, if you're a woman and you need some tips on how to travel safely, how to avoid being untraceable, I got you. Hit me up. I got you. But yeah, you can assess the risk for yourself if you're willing to go all the way to London. You know, I'm not gonna judge this grown woman and her decision, very grown woman and her decision to do that. I would much rather do something like that where I know this person, I've met this person before, and it's the same level of risk whether you've met the person before or not. I'm just going to be honest with you. A person that you've known for your whole life could turn out to be a crazy. So just know it's not safe or unsafe no matter what you do. Bad things are going to happen, good things are going to happen. Everything in life that's worth doing is a risk. Okay, not everything worth doing is a risk, but you know what I'm trying to say. Most of the fun stuff that happens in life is a risk. So, ooh, it's almost time for book club. Okay. Anyway, I might have to pause and come back, but that's okay. So, yeah, assess the risk, but I would much rather do that as well. It's all a risk. Do what you think is more or less risky for you. But for me, I'm taking a trip to London. And even if it don't work out with dude, I'm in London. Do you hear me? I'm in a different country. The world is my oyster. I don't need him. Girl, boo bye. Like, come on. Now let's talk about an example of how addictive these evil apps can be, especially for these youngins. And I'm a youngin too, so I'm not addicted to the apps. I had a point where I would frequent the app streets, daily. Now I don't care. You know what I mean? But let's see. So Mark, a server in his mid 20s from Chicago, isn't swearing off the apps forever. But last year he took Grinder, Hinge, and Scruff off his phone. I'm kind of a romantic and the apps are not. He says they were making me feel gross. Nevertheless, he has a hard time imagining that his forswearing of the apps will stick forever. Ooh, he got it bad. Sometimes I'll be out in the world and I'll hear the Grinder notification chirp on someone else's phone, and I'll have this funny twitchy feeling like I want that. He explains. It's like I'm trying to quit smoking or something. When I said he got it bad, I'm not talking badly about this boy. So if this reaches that level, I want that to be known clearly. When I say he got it bad, it's because these apps were designed for just that. I've experienced it in my life where I've been in public. I deleted the apps. I heard somebody's Tinder notification go off because we all know that Tinder sound. And I was like, hey, let me re-download. Let's see what's up. They getting a little ding ding. Maybe I'll get a little ding ding. And it was very anticlimactic, to say the least. Like, you get a match every few days. The chances that you still like what you see by the time that you get back to that match is like 50-50. Because I'm going to be honest, these things are so addictive, you just get to swiping. Like, and then you don't even remember who you swiped by the end of it. You run out of swipes or whatever, and then you do match with people, and they're the people that, like, oops, I didn't even mean to do that. Like, it's boring. It's boring. um, let's see. These apps were recently sued for a class action lawsuit. Which I wonder why. Maybe because of what I just said. All right, let's see what's the class action lawsuit about. This past Valentine's Day, Match Group was sued in a federal court in San Francisco. The class action complaint claims a gamification of on the part of gamblers locked in search for psychological reward that Match makes elusive on purpose. So Tinder and Hinge seeks to transform its users into gamblers locked in a search for psychological reward that Match makes elusive on purpose. When you swipe, ding, 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 or if you play games on your phone, I think well, I'm not going to say we all know this because not everybody has a baseline of science like that, especially like psychology, and this is psychology. When you swipe on your phone and you hear that ding, 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 you know what I mean? And you're matching, that is a reward center being uh triggered in your brain. It's dopamine. You're getting a hit of dopamine. Like, the reason why people use lab rats in tests that they're gonna eventually use on humans is because the rat's brain is strikingly similar as far as the way that its reward centers work. So if a rat keeps tapping on something and they keep getting a reward center out of it, that's the way they use lab rats a lot of times is they find something that the rat likes and then they keep getting it to go for that reward thing, and then they take it away and they see what happens. Like, that is how our brains work as well. When we do that, dopamine, we get a hit of dopamine in our head, just like when you get high, or when you're in love with someone and you kiss them, or you give them a hug, or somebody makes you smile because they said something that just made you so happy. That's all dopamine. So when you're swiping and you keep getting these matches and you keep getting that reward center go off, It's addictive. That's why people get addicted to drugs, is because of the dopamine that it gives them. And the fact that they can't get that same dopamine level that they got the first time. So they keep coming back for more. Just like that rat will keep coming back for more. So, yeah, it's addictive. So they got sued for it, rightfully so, because the point was to date during COVID, right? Or the point was to date, to find a partner, right? I mean, one of the apps literally says the app that's meant to be deleted. So it's meant to be deleted, but you keep giving me hits of dopamine when I get a match. And I'm not even looking to get a match anymore. I'm just looking to get that hit of dopamine. So yeah, crazy. So the people have left the dating apps and returned to IRL dating, which makes me so freaking happy. It makes me so excited. I love to hear it. I think that, if you want to be on the dating sites, be on them. I won't say that I wouldn't use them to find a friend, but there's a problem that my dad and I have talked about, where you get this expectation on a dating app where when you meet this person, you're gonna like it's gonna be something. When you meet someone in person, there's no expectation it's gonna be something. That's an issue, to go into a situation with the expectation that there's gonna be something. It taints it, because when you don't get that thing that you were expecting, you get disappointed. When you get disappointed, you get turned off of that person altogether, and you don't even want to explore a friendship with them. Is a possibility. That's a possibility that could come of that. I'm just saying. Here's some ways to meet some people: bars, social functions, through friends and setups, book clubs, bike groups, activism. I'm not going to say the last thing that they put in the article, but the gym. There's so many ways you can meet people. Go to one of them speed dating things. At least you meet them in person. It might only be like what, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, but like at least you meet them in person. So now I'm going to get into these sick people. In the eyes of the executives and engineers of corporations, dating apps, what seems to matter most to people is an abundant sexual romantic marketplace where users efficiently select and consume what or whom they want. I don't know about you, but I'm not a lion in the jungle. I'm not looking to devour my target. I'm looking for a relationship when I get on these, or a friendship. So for you to think that that's what I want, no wonder that the app is going to die. And it turns out, 1 decade in, many people do not want an infinite marketplace or wish to be one of its many wares, or efficiently picked out or left behind. What more and more people hope for is a connection, gratification, fun, partnership, sweetness, ideally accessed in more human ways. I love it. I love it. Let's keep it going. Let's do it in real life too. Put the phone down. Value these connections. I love a hangout where I don't want to look at my phone. It's starting to look like these apps might die off sooner than later. The executives of dating apps realize they are becoming less and less relevant and are attempting their hardest to stay in our phones. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm probably going to delete all them bitches after this conversation, because I'm cool. Like, I'm not even looking to date as it is. And even if I was, that ain't the way to do it. I'm just saying. For me. For me. You do with this conversation what you will. See, so there are alternatives. People are coming up with alternatives. One pioneer in an alternate model is a queer-centered app called Lex, which recently morphed from explicitly dating-focused app to more broadly defined social platform. So I mean, like, I guess that's a good, like, That's a what's it called? That's like a good middleman. That's a good compromise, you know. Maybe we post some pictures and we chit chat like we do on Instagram, and then if we decide to meet up, we decide to meet up. But like, I'm just gonna ask, and I'm not here to like tear down anybody's model or anything, but like, why wouldn't I just get on Instagram and meet people like that? I don't know. That's just what I want to know. So you might know, you might not know. Dating apps are not something that just became like out of thin air. These came from ideas that were already had, such as classifieds, matchmaking. Both of these were informal but organized. So people would like put out an ad in the paper, and people do what are called dating docs now, which I read about in this article as well, which I guess is kind of like putting out an ad in the classifieds. I don't know. I don't I'm trying to get exposure as far as social media because I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to raise some awareness for something that's real important to me. But that being said, I don't know if I would be ready to put myself out there like that. No, no judgment to anybody that does. Like I really respect all of it. Like I love it. I love to see people doing things that other people just don't do. People doing things I wouldn't do. Like so my closing thoughts, especially because it's time for book club. All right. So I feel like dating apps serve their purpose, and they still do in some cases, as far as meeting new people, making new friends, making new connections, maybe networking. um, some become friends, others do end up in happy relationships with a partner that they meet off the sites. I also feel like dating is a shot in the dark. Either way it goes, whether you get on a platform or you go meet somebody in person, it's like I said in the beginning, it's all the same to me. It's all just as dangerous and it's all just as safe. Like, in my opinion, anything worth doing in life is a risk. There's a risk involved in it somewhere, somehow. Um, the internet has the same people on it that lurk the street, so I really can't say one's better than the other. I will say that you can tell a lot more about a person from a conversation in person than you can from a text. I can say that you can easily misinterpret a text message, and you can't as easily misinterpret somebody in your face telling you what it is. Now, people can put on a facade, but even that eventually will come to an end. You're gonna see their true colors. So, it's my opinion. These apps are not out for our best interests. They're not here for us to date. They don't care if we date. They care about relevancy. They care about numbers. They care about those stock numbers that just tanked 85%. So when they market, when they get on here and they tell you, I'm here to be deleted. I'm here because I want to I want to help y'all. I want to help you find the love of your life. No, you're here for me to swipe, swipe, swipe. And until you change your model to something that's not so addictive, I don't believe that you're here to do anything but keep me stuck on this app. F. As time goes on, I think that we are going to see a return of the old way of dating, where people value quality time over how many matches they can get in a day. And I love to see it. There will always be alternate ways to meet people, which is great, as long as it fosters a healthy mindset and an environment for everybody to thrive. That is what matters most to me. All right, y'all. Well, happy, what is it? Thankful Thursday. Happy Thankful Thursday. Thank you for tuning in to this little article segment about online dating. I hope I didn't bore you to death. and like, subscribe, and comment. All right. Bye.